Okay, here's a couple RPD mods to my semi-auto conversion with a improved trigger. The grip frame was machined out, slotted this width through, and I cut the trigger guard to the correct height to insert the Savage 775 trigger group. The safety on the side, the stock one where these cutouts were, since I wasn't going to use it, I put two stainless steel plates, TIG welded them in, kind of blended it in. I also plugged the unused safety and pinholes on the other side, and like I said, it's not finished now. I'll make it pretty later. But my trigger, the Savage, was a steel trigger group, that way I could weld it directly. The mods to the trigger were minimal. The hammer was cut down and the sear corrected to clear the slide. The slide is machined with a groove in it to clear the hammer and the sear. I turned two steel bushings and put on each side of the hammer to keep it centered. And that's about it for that. This was a major major mod. The other mods are the stock recoil spring, this rod that is inserted through the butt, this is trimmed shorter, it's cut down to clear this, and I'm going to call it a push rod. This is the part that straddles that, slides on here. And this is the part that when it's fired, it'll travel back in the buttstock. So this clears the hammer, and this piece interfaces on the milled slot in the bolt carrier to keep it from rotating. So this push rod piece, it's pretty basic. This was machined out of a hardened bolt, since it's already heat treated and of known substance. Milled it flat, both sides. It's about, I think this is about 290 diameter or 290 width. The inside is milled to clear the hammer here, and it's slightly larger here because the hammer spring rides on the shaft. The front part of it is turned down and dimpled, and this is similar to the stock spring that it mates with the rear of the carrier. So I'm going to show you how this works real quick. When you put the halves together, you can put this on either way. This slips on here. Then what you do is you line this up with the rear of the carrier, and you slide it home. Okay, try to reposition this. Hold this by hand because I don't have the pin in. You can hear the hammer drop. Other mods for the grip frame to accommodate this push rod traveling back in here. This round hole that this passes through stock is opened up side to side and down. That way it facilitates the clearance of this traveling in and out. This hole comes through the back. It's on a slight angle, so it's easy to get a rat tail file in there. I used an end mill, dropped it down there, roughed it out. But I ended up taking just a rat tail file and cleaning it up where this passes through with no binding or rubbing. So the spring's pretty strong. Other mods are just simply standard semi-auto mods. This is a DSA receiver, no complaints. The carrier, you want it to travel freely, no binding. I had a huge burr in this cocking charging handle that, you know, it was from the undercut. It took a lot of burring to get the handle to travel freely. So that's where I'm at right now. So I'm almost done with this group. Now I gotta do the standard rest of the conversion to put the transfer pin for the firing pin in. And on mine, I have this extra hole through that I'm gonna have to plug this and weld it. That way my through hole for the transfer firing pin doesn't go off center.